You're in the sweltering heat of a jungle training ground in the Philippines, surrounded by some of the world's most elite special forces operators. On one side, you've got the legendary Dutch Korps Commandotroepen, the green beret-wearing badasses from the Netherlands, with a history stretching back to World War II, known for their precision, discipline, and unbreakable reputation in counterterrorism and special reconnaissance. They're confident, maybe a little cocky, looking at their opponents and thinking this is going to be an easy day. On the other side, the underdogs, the Philippine Naval Special Operations Group, or NAVSOG, the Navy SEAL-inspired warriors from the Philippines who've been battling real terrorists in their backyard for decades, forged in the fires of endless counterinsurgency ops against groups like Abu Sayyaf. The Dutch team starts talking smack, trash-talking the Filipinos, saying things like they're not on the same level, that this competition is just a warm-up for them. But then, the games begin. And what happens next is absolutely brutal. The NAVSOG operators don't just compete, they dominate. They sweep the board in a shocking 5-0 shutout, humiliating the Dutch in front of everyone. And what made the difference in this epic clash of elite forces? Stick around till the end because this story of pride, revenge, and pure dominance is going to blow your mind. And it might just change how you see special forces forever. Special forces units around the world love to train together, exchange tactics, and yes, sometimes compete head-to-head. It's how they get better, pushing each other to the limit in realistic scenarios that mimic real combat. These joint exercises happen all the time under programs like battle-hardened between the US and Philippines, or NATO partnerships that include the Dutch. But every now and then, a friendly competition turns into something legendary, something that gets whispered about in barracks and special ops circles for years. That's exactly what went down in this matchup between the Dutch Korps Commandotroepen and the Philippine NAVSOG. First, let's break down who the Korps Commandotroepen are, or KCT for short. These guys are the tip of the spear for the Royal Netherlands Army. Their roots go all the way back to World War II. In 1942, Dutch exiles in Britain formed No. 2 Dutch Troop as part of the famous No. 10 Inter-Allied Commando. They trained alongside the British commandos in the brutal Scottish Highlands, earning their green berets through hellish selection processes that broke most men. These early Dutch commandos fought in daring raids, reconnaissance behind enemy lines, and even guerrilla operations in the Pacific against the Japanese. After the war, during the Indonesian independence struggle, they evolved into the Korps Speciale-Troepen, conducting counterinsurgency in jungles not unlike the ones in the Philippines. Today, the KCT is a Tier 1 Special Forces unit, small, highly professional, with around 400 to 500 operators divided into companies specializing in direct action, special reconnaissance, military assistance, and counterterrorism. These guys train with the best, SAS, Delta Force, SEALs. They're known for their calm under pressure, advanced tech integration, and flawless execution. In urban ops, mountain warfare, or Arctic conditions, the KCT is world-class. They're funded well, equipped with the latest gear, 416 Hong Kong dollars rifles, Glock pistols, advanced night vision, and even their own dedicated support units. Selection is brutal. Only about 10 to 15% make it through the elementary commando course, which includes endless marches, sleep deprivation, and psychological tests designed to weed out anyone who's not absolutely unbreakable.
Now, shift to the other side. The Philippine Naval Special Operations Group, NAVSOG. These are the elite of the Philippine Navy, often called the Philippine Navy SEALs because their training is heavily modeled after the US Navy SEALs. NAVSOG traces its origins back to the 1950s with underwater demolition teams, evolving through the Vietnam-era influences and into the modern force fighting in the War on Terror in Southeast Asia. Headquartered in Sangley Point, Cavite, NAVSOG has about 400 to 500 operators too, organized into SEAL teams spread across the archipelago. What sets NAVSOG apart is real-world combat experience. While many Western Special Forces units have deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan, NAVSOG has been in near constant action at home against insurgent groups like the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, New People's Army, and especially the brutal Abu Sayyaf, kidnappers, beheaders, and ISIS affiliates in the southern Philippines. These guys have conducted countless hostage rescues, riverine operations, jungle ambushes, and maritime interdictions in some of the most hostile environments on Earth. Their training is infamous for being one of the toughest in Asia. Dropout rates are sky high, sometimes only 20 to 30% graduate. They master sea, air, and land operations, diving, parachuting, close quarters battle, demolition, sniper skills, and unconventional warfare. They've trained extensively with US SEALs through joint exercises and have adopted a lot of their tactics, but they've added their own flavor born from decades of fighting asymmetric wars. So, how did these two units end up facing off? It all started during a multinational special operations exercise in the Philippines, one of those joint training events aimed at building interoperability against common threats like terrorism in the Indo-Pacific. Units from several countries were invited, including a detachment from the Dutch KCT. These exercises often include competitive elements, shooting competitions, obstacle courses, tactical scenarios, navigation challenges, and full-on force-on-force simulations. It's friendly, but the pride is real. Operators from elite units don't like losing, especially not to teams they might underestimate. Leading up to the main events, tensions built. Word is, some of the Dutch operators, perhaps feeling the weight of their unit's storied reputation and superior funding, started trash-talking the NAVSOG guys. Comments like, "These locals are tough, but they're not on our level," or "We've trained with the best in the world, this will be quick." Maybe it was banter gone too far, or genuine arrogance from thinking their high-tech gear and NATO standard training would carry the day. In Special Forces culture, trash talk is common to psych out opponents, but it can backfire spectacularly. The competition was structured as a best-of-5 series of challenges, designed to test the full spectrum of special operations skills: marksmanship, physical endurance, tactical movement, urban combat, and a final capstone event combining everything in a simulated raid. Round 1. Precision shooting and stress fire. The range was set up with targets at varying distances, including moving and pop-up threats, under time pressure and after physical exertion. The Dutch came in hot. Their training emphasizes pinpoint accuracy with advanced optics and suppressed weapons. They posted solid times and hits. But NAVSOG? These guys live this. Years of real sniper ops against terrorists in dense jungles honed their skills to a razor's edge. They adapted faster to the humid conditions that fog scopes and slick grips. NAVSOG takes the win in a close but decisive margin. 1-0 to the Philippines. The Dutch brush it off, just warming up. Round 2. The Endurance Challenge, a grueling ruck march through jungle terrain with heavy loads, followed by an obstacle course that included river crossings, wall climbs, and cargo carries. This is where the home field advantage kicked in hard. The Dutch are fit, insanely fit, but they're used to European climates. The Philippine jungle is a beast. 90+ degrees Fahrenheit, 100% humidity, insects everywhere, mud that sucks your boots off. NAVSOG operators grew up in this environment. Their bodies are acclimated, their navigation instinctive. The KCT team pushed hard, but fatigue set in faster. Dehydration, heat exhaustion warnings. They powered through, but NAVSOG smoked them by minutes. The Dutch faces turned serious.
This is a competitive exercise using simunition rounds, specialized training ammunition that marks hits. Both units excel here. KCT with their methodical room clearing, utilizing precision and perfect technique. NAVSOG demonstrates aggressive, fluid movements honed from extensive real-world training scenarios. It's neck and neck, with intense action and coordinated communication in Dutch and Tagalog. But NAVSOG's speed and adaptability secure the win. They clear objectives faster, with a higher success rate. 3-0. The underdogs are demonstrating their capability. Round 4. Maritime insertion and assault simulation. As a naval special warfare unit, this is NAVSOG's domain. The scenario involved a high-speed boat approach, covert swim, beach landing, and securing a coastal objective. KCT also brings strong amphibious capabilities, but the unique tropical environment, currents, and heat favor the home team. NAVSOG executes flawlessly, showcasing their regional mastery. The Dutch team is solid, but a small navigational error costs them valuable time. For -0. International observers are beginning to take serious notice. They move silently through the jungle, gather intelligence perfectly, and execute the final phase with speed and precision. The KCT fights back skillfully, but fatigue and pressure lead to minor compounding errors. NAVSOG completes the objective with optimal efficiency in the simulation. 5-0. Clean sweep. The Dutch operators reportedly acknowledged the Filipinos' exceptional performance that day, particularly in their native environment. This intense competition quickly became legendary, demonstrating that mastery and adaptation can overcome reputation alone. NAVSOG earned massive international respect. The KCT analyzed their performance, focused on environmental adaptation, and undoubtedly improved. This 5-0 story highlights a crucial point about elite units. Success isn't always about the biggest budget or the fanciest gear. It's about dedication, practical experience, and the determination to succeed. The Philippine NAVSOG showed the world they are truly elite. Turn on notifications too, because I've got more stories coming. Elite unit rivalries, training secrets, and incredible underdog victories. Subscribing helps the channel grow. Now, let's examine why NAVSOG achieved this upset. It was a matter of training philosophy. The KCT selection and training follows an elite European style, scientific, progressive, with detailed oversight. They focus on versatility. Operators train for mountain, desert, and Arctic operations. Their commando course includes weeks of intense navigation, technical demolitions, and freefall parachuting. Much of this is conducted in meticulously controlled, high-tech facilities. NAVSOG, their approach is fundamentally practical and demanding. The culmination phase is nonstop. Cold water exercises, endurance challenges that push physical limits, and complex mental exercises that test resolve under stress. Because the Philippines maintains a constant operational tempo, graduates immediately apply their skills in the field, leading to rapid accumulation of experience. In this competition, that practical, high-tempo experience shone. NAVSOG operators are constantly executing critical missions where peak performance is required. They have mastered complex operational environments, demonstrating superior close-quarters combat skill. That constant readiness generates true professionalism. Let's look at specific skills where NAVSOG dominated. The Dutch train on immaculate ranges. Filipinos train to improvise and adapt. Studies confirm that acclimatized athletes perform significantly better in tropical conditions. NAVSOG lives this reality daily. Tactics. NAVSOG excels in small unit aggression and speed against highly challenging opponents. KCT maintains a more deliberate approach, which is effective against peers but slower in high-speed simulations. Maritime. A clear advantage for the naval unit in water-heavy scenarios. The trash talk, it fueled NAVSOG. In Special Forces, disrespect is rocket fuel. They wanted to prove Southeast Asian warriors belong at the top table. Post-event, both units benefited, joint training increased. Dutch likely incorporated more tropical prep. NAVSOG got validation, perhaps more funding. This story reminds us, Special Forces greatness isn't static. It's who shows up prepared, motivated, and adaptable. We've covered the hook, the unit's histories, the competition blow-by-blow, analysis. But there's more. Let's explore similar upsets in Special Ops history to put this in context. For example, in various warrior competitions or best ranger events, underdog teams from smaller nations sometimes shock favorites. Or recall when Australian SASR dominated certain exercises against bigger allies. But this Dutch versus Filipino clash stands out because of the cultural contrast. High-tech Western pros versus battle-hardened tropical fighters. Deeper into KCT history, in Afghanistan, they captured high-value targets, disrupted IED networks. One operator, Marco Kroon, earned the Military William Order individually, rare honor. NAVSOG highlights. Operations against Abu Sayyaf, rescuing hostages from jungle camps. They've lost brothers in fierce firefights, but kept going. If this happened today, with updated gear, NAVSOG now has better rifles, night vision from USAID, the gap might be even wider in home terrain. But credit to KCT, they're professionals. They took the L and learned. Wrapping this up, the day the Dutch Korps Commandotroepen trash-talked the Philippine NAVSOG and got brutally 5-0 foot D is a reminder that in special operations, pride comes before a fall, and underdogs can bite hard. What do you think? Could KCT win a rematch in Europe? Or is NAVSOG just superior in certain domains? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Best ones get pinned. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Subscribe if you haven't. More epic military stories on the way. Like, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.